Well, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to vaportrails.tv. It is Monday, the 27th of October, 2014, and this is Drips and Tips with me, Davey, and as always, my co-host, who is known to you all as the Fury, or the Furious Fury, or the Fury 79, or the Furious Fury 79, Mr. Andy Abrook. Andy, that's a fine hat you've got on there, mate.
Ah, yes, it's a very fine hat. That one.
Yeah, well, I can top that, dude. There you go. How about that? Let's have the titles, please.
So get the magic sponge. That's a keeper. Oh, man. And that's a wrap.
So here we are, Drips and Tips. We've got a fair amount of stuff that we want to cover tonight. And we're going to be covering some of the things that the guys have been covering throughout the week as well, and give mine and Andy's take on them. One of the things that I wanted to discuss tonight was about flavours. Last night on Dave Kitson's show, he was talking about flavourings with Doug, and Dave Dawn also did a driving and talking segment where he's talking about flavours as well. Now, it came to my attention that Dave Dawn uses just one flavouring in his e-cig all day. That's the ethyl maltol. And on his show last week, he did a very quick mixing section. Dave Kitson uses only one flavour all day, DY4, I think it was. Whereas for me, I mix different flavours up during the day. So at some point, I'll have a gin's addiction, then I'll change it to a menthol, then I'll have something fruity. And I've got 4 or 5 different atomizers on the go at the same time. And I want to know what you guys in chat do. Are you specifically sticking to one flavour? Or do you mix them around? Do you tend to go for different things at different times of the day? Andy, what's your take on it?
Well, I generally carry 3 devices around me most of the time. I've usually got the Evic, the Hana, and the King. And on each and every one of them is a different flavour. And in each and every one of those flavours, around about 3 or 4 flavours. Because, I don't know, I suppose I just like to mix it up, you know? Perhaps it's the exuberance of youth. Well, in my case, probably the exuberance of middle age. But, well, as we know, I exclusively use drippers. So the ability to chop and change flavours is already there and inbuilt. Well, dude, you've known me for a long time. We'll talk on the phone like once a week, and I'll be like, dude, I'm on this new flavour, it's awesome! So I change my flavour quite as often as I change my pants, to be fair.
Well, yeah, I'm the same. I mean, I've got a tank full of gin's addiction here, but I've also got drippers all over the place, like this Eternity here, and I've got an old school dripper here, and it's constantly trying new flavours. But see, are there many people, do you think, who have actually found their perfect flavour and stick to it, or are they like me and you? We're flavour hounds.
Well, you see it all the time, don't you, on forums and groups and all this. You know, people going, "Oh yeah, I found my all-day vape, the ADV, the fabled ADV." You know, it's one of those, isn't it? Some people do. For a while, I had an all-day vape, which was of sorts, but it had like a little touch of cool in it. And for me, for a long time, that was pretty much it. That's all I vaped for a long, long time. Then, obviously, I got into my custard phase, which I still haven't really come out of. If it's got custard in it, I'll probably vape it and chat. Oh my god, no, you can't do custard, because you die of head implosion divided by 0. But
I've got to say, I'm not a custard fan, mate. I've tried all sorts, and I've never got on with custard.
You're also broadcasting from your garage, and I'm pretty much a hermit, so I'm talking.
Okay.
Yeah, language. Ooh, naughty boy. We've got some comments on this already. Quite thick and fast, actually. A lot faster than we've had before. Reptile Keeper, anything and everything for me. Sounds pretty much like you and me there, actually.
Yeah.
Odd TV, mostly one flavour at a time here, maybe 2. Good old Nicky with the juicy bits. I use about 100 flavours a day. I can't keep track of them. In all the conversations I've had with Nicky, that is so very true. But what she probably hasn't said, and hasn't said in that comment, is that Brainy Apple's one that she generally goes back to.
So I'm quite the same as Nicky there, then, because I constantly change flavours. I'm always on the go. I've got different bottles here, there, and everywhere that I'll just keep trying with the drippers. But I'll always have 2 or 3 tanks full of something that I want to use constantly.
Sorry, I've just had a very weird comment put up in our personal chat from Reptile Keeper. Oh, and any single males, forget links and get some vintage Dreamer. Had some pretty young blonde wanting to come home with me this afternoon because I smelt nice.
Okay.
Well, mate, you know this is a vape,
Yeah.
right? Okay, E6 and juice and stuff. That's for the other website, yeah? Mike B says, been on one flavour for months, fire and ice.
Yeah, lovely flavour. Now, I was on one flavour as well for months and months, back when I started vaping and I got my C4 set up and all that. And it was RY4, oh no, it was RY High 5. And I used that constantly until a friend of mine, I think it may have been you, Andy, when you first started, and we started trying different flavours. We started discussing it more and more and more.
Well, we've been talking now roughly between ourselves for well over a year, and it was well before last year's Vape Fest.
Yeah.
Sort of very shortly after you started with VTTV, and then our journeys obviously became very intertwined, and then we've always been in a very loose contact. We generally speak once a month before we became closer as friends.
Yeah.
And now we talk pretty much 2-3 times a week, minimum.
Minimum, yeah. Sometimes it's daily, isn't it?
Well, yeah, sometimes. And one thing we always discuss is flavours. I'm sorry, I've got a window open. Can you carry on for a second whilst I shut this window?
Yeah, no problem. I mean, going back to flavours, some people will find that perfect flavour for them, and if you find that, brilliant. And some of us are just flavour hounds. But there's another aspect to this as well, and that is being a flavour hound and cloud chasing, because drippers tend to give off more flavour, don't they?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh,
but then I have lots of tanks full of different flavours, and we'll use those instead. So, you know, there's so much variation to vaping, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Well, a lot of you know, especially you, Dave, because you rang me whilst I was there. I was at Fury Fest last night, and the shop that we did it at is a Cloud Chaser's wet dream come true. As soon as you go in, you see the 2 glass counters, and they're full of drippers and mechanical mods and various other nice, like ZNAs and DNAs and Vapor Sharks and all the nice, good top-end gear. Like, funnily enough, I made a purchase, which we'll be talking about later. And behind them is shelf upon shelf upon shelf upon shelf, literally 3-4 shelves high, balls to the wall, full of flavour, from just about every brand you can imagine. And as actually, funny enough, the sentiment I'm about to make reflects a comment we've just got. Disco Des, ask 100 vapors what their favourite juice is, and you'll get around about 90 different answers. And that was exactly how it went last night. Exactly how it went last night. We had a friend of mine who's gone into business for herself there, and it was her sort of debut in the local circuit, as it were. And one of her juices is one of my favourites at the moment. It's called Gorilla Farts. Custard variant again, but with Nana. And that was pretty popular. However, she sold a full broad spectrum of everything that she brought. And it was the same with the store as well. They sold a broad spectrum of everything that was on the shelf. There were regulars who were coming back in and asking for the exact same stuff over and over again, but it's always that broad spectrum, isn't it? Really, whatever way we cut it.
Yeah. But that brings me on to another thing there as well then, because, again, Dave Dawn, Dave Kitson, they're both using that single flavour. So it's one single flavouring they're using for their juice. Whereas when I make a juice, or when I'm buying a juice, I want it to have multiple flavours in it. And so, you know, I'd rather have something, say, apple and blackcurrant, or a mix of different flavours within one juice than just one single flavour. What do you think? How do you turn on that?
What I'm liking at the moment is various takes on various different types. I mean, we had that whole thing with the Red Astaire business a little while back, right? I like the new takes on the Astaire. People are taking that Red Astaire sort of, I want to say base, not the Red Astaire flavouring itself, but the idea of it, and putting different takes on it. For example, my friend does something called Night Fury. Nothing to do with me, I might add. It was completely separate for me, which is blackcurrant on steroids, as she describes it. But it is that sort of their menthol sort of flavour, fruity menthol flavour, and I'm liking a lot of these. I hate menthol, by the way. Let's get that one out there. I absolutely detest menthol.
I love this stuff.
I only ever really use anything like that when I've got a cold, which I had recently, but we'll get to that in the next segment. I'm liking all these takes that are coming up as well, whether it's from home DIYers or people who are full professional people who are doing their own versions of things. For me, complex, simple, it all works. Long term and short of it, it all comes to the same result, doesn't it? It keeps all of us lot off the bloody stinkies.
Yeah, but I'll agree with you on that point there, with the people taking a flavour that's been invented and then doing their own take on it. As you know, I mix myself. I got some Gins Addiction, and I did my own take on it, and you thought it was lovely. And you know, it's different things like that, and people taking their own.
Still got a little bit of it left.
Flavours. Have you?
Yeah, I forgot I had it. It's about at the bottom of the little file that you gave me.
Should have finished that by now. You disgust me. But no, I do like this. People that are taking the basic flavours that other people are making and then running with it.
Oh yeah,
it's innovation, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, we're seeing a lot of innovation on the e-cig market now. Depending on what camp you come from, it's either innovation for innovation's sake or it's the next greatest thing, or the way vaping's going to go. But I think the real innovation needs to come from juice. Really, apart from what was discussed about batteries the other day with Dave Dawn, which is something I wholeheartedly agree with. I didn't think I would initially, but then I thought about it, and then it was like, actually, the dude's right. But you know, juice innovation, you sell a mod once, but the person keeps coming back to buy juice. You see what I mean? From a merchant's point of view, I'll sell them their e-cig. That's the big sale, and then the repeat sale is from juice. Unless, of course, they get into DIY. So, and then that's.
And this is something we need to discuss as well, is the DIY side of things, because obviously I've given you juice in the past, and you get juice from your friends. And this is something I want to know from chat as well. Are there more people who make their own juice than buy it from a shop, or would you prefer to buy it from a shop than make your own juice?
See, now, I can't actually. Well, we discussed earlier. Before we do the show, we always have a quick me and Dave chat on the phone, a quick power out. finalise what we're going to do, like absolute solid what we're going to do. And we talked about this. I have brought this year from a shop 1 bottle of juice.
There you go. I've bought none. No, sorry. No, I bought 1, and that was the Gin's Addiction. Because people were talking about it after Vape Fest. So that's the only thing I've bought.
Yeah. Otherwise, I've either received for my YouTube purposes, or I've got friends who mix, and they mix stupid amounts, copious amounts. For example, a friend of mine in foreign parts, funny enough, has just messaged me through Facebook. He sent me over nearly half a litre of my favourite of one of his juices that he does. I've got bottles and bottles and bottles of it there. It's either been given to me or, it's been made for me, but it hasn't been brought from a shop. And that is because, getting back to the main topic here, I like lots of different flavours, and I don't buy from shops because I have, well, it's the VG-PG thing. I'm allergic to PG. For a start, that's why I go to DIYers, because I can say to them, can I have a minimum of 80/20 VG PG? Well, you know that because you've mixed for me in the past. He does a particularly good flavour that I really, really like, and normally every time I see him, I'm like, oh, do a bit of that oil, yeah, and punch him until he does it. But joking aside, he's like, how do you want it? 80/20 minimum. If I could have as close to 100% VG as possible, I would.
But that's another thing. Going back to the 80/20 there, I mean, Dave Dawn said on his mixing segment that he uses between 5 and 7.5% flavour, and that's it. So you could get a higher percentage of VG using that amount. But if you want bags of flavour, I mean, when I mix, I use between 15 and 20% flavour, because I want more flavour than I want vapour. So I tend to get an 80/20 VG-PG mix, but I get more flavour from it. I mean, what's your take on that one?
80/20 seems to be my go-to for the moment. I have got 90 plus here somewhere. I generally get 100ml bottles as well from the people that mix me juice. But because I use drippers, I go for Big Cloud and flavour. For example, I've got a particular brand of custard here that's quite hard to get in this country, actually. That is, I get the VG Plus version. For me, has that extra flavour, but then, correct me if I'm wrong, VG is sweet anyway, and it gives a sweeter overall flavour.
I wouldn't know, because I tend to have higher VG as well. So.
Okay, right, well, we're coming up very fast to the first lot of adverts.
We are indeed. I just want to cover something that Moonlit said there. What happened to all the different PG-VG blends? It seems like a lot of shops these days just sell one mix, you get what you get.
I think
that's a very good point.
Yeah, when I'm selling a juice, and I do get the rare question, obviously my shop is geared more towards a noob, okay, they sort of ask me, if I do get that question, what is the ratio? I say industry standard 60/40. I'm probably well wrong there, but every juice I bought when I started was 60/40, so that's probably, an industry standard there coming in. Thoughts?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, it could be an industry standard coming in there, but then you get people. I mean, when you're shopping on a website, wouldn't it be worth having the option to have a different ratio?
But don't a lot of online vendors do that?
Sorry?
And all the online vendors that I generally use do that.
I've seen a lot that don't do it, and I've popped on there just to have a look, because you get the Facebook watch it to pop up and say, or suggest this page. I've had a look, and it's literally 50/50. But that's an interesting point. I think it is something that should be there, even if it's just in the comments. Can you do this mix? Or if you walk into a shop and say, right, I want a specialist mix because I'm intolerant to PG, so can you get your supplier to do a certain ratio? I think there's something that it should be explored, maybe.
Possibly. And on that note, final word there from our producers is the chat is roughly 50/50 split on DIY and pre-made.
Ah, interesting.
Interesting. Shall we roll
So,
the ads?
Yeah, let's go to the ads and then we'll carry on after.
Often imitated, never duplicated. Award-winning service and products from cloud9vaping.co.uk.
And we are back in the room. I think. Okay, I screwed that one up.
And you took the mickey out of me for doing that.
Yeah, well, you know, the best of us can do it. The worst of us can do it too, can't we, Andy?
Yeah, shut up.
Yeah, right. Okay, I think we've covered flavours now. And like we said, there seemed to be it's a 50-50 mix. I'm just seeing what the VTTV team are saying in chat there, and yeah, they're going to beat me up later. So, Andy, I'm going to switch it over to you, and you're going to talk about your new mod.
I am going to talk about my new mod because it's an interesting one. No, it's this one. This here, it's a clone. I'll say that straight off the bat. It's not an original, and I've done my research. Now, this one is I love the name of the company that's made this clone. It's the Wotofoe mod.
The Wotofoe.
The Wotofoe mod, and it is a clone of the Anarchist, and that's the box. And I picked this up last night. Now, the reason it was brought to my attention is because of the button. And now, ironically, the reason it got more interesting for me is also because of the button. But if you look on the bottom there, got an A on it, little Anarchist symbol, which is pretty rad because it's one of my favourite symbols. Not because I'm an anarchist or anything. My name is Andy, and you know, both my surname and my forename begins with A. So you know, pretty cool. But when I stripped it apart, because when I first put the battery in it got a lot of rattle, and I discovered that it's got a floating pin and an adjustable positive pin at the top, and I thought, you know what, I need to lock it, and there is no locking ring. Okay,
right,
there is no locking ring there. If I do that actually unscrews the whole thing. It's a mechanical mod, yeah. It's got oxidized copper as well, so it doesn't tarnish as quickly as regular copper, as you can see with the Muti-X and the body of the Anarchist as it is. Now, what has made this really interesting, I thought it was a magnetic switch. right? It's
Yeah.
not. And I'm going to strip the switch down real quickly. Now, I've never seen this before, and all the reviews I've been watching on it today, in doing my research on it, apparently it's pretty unique, because it doesn't even have a spring. See, that's the switch all pulled apart. That's the recess that it all goes into. It has this. That is a tensioner. Okay?
Oh, okay.
What it is a little bit, it's a thin disc of steel, cut, like, you know the old centres of old EP records, and you have that little bit that you can knock out for the jukeboxes. It looks like that. You can't quite see it there. Hang on, let's do the old reviewer standard. No, I don't even know if you can see it. That isn't dirt, by the way, on my fingers. It's a failed tattoo. And it's just basically a little bit of steel. Tensioned. That sits on there, like so. Main switch body. It's got a very, very small throw as well, about 1.5 mm. It's a very, very small throw, and the clearance once you've got that sat down is. I doubt you'll even be able to see that. I can barely see it looking over it here.
No, I can't say that.
It makes clearance. Now, as a matter of precaution, I'm using the VTC5 in this because it's on a 0.32 coil on a Muti X. Got my new drip tip as well, which is quite nice, like a fat one. And now I've been carrying this around in my pocket all day, just my standard trouser pocket, right? And it is not fired at all, not having a safety locking feature, yeah? That recess button, I'll put it in deliberately. The chat again is probably going to go mental. Oh, you've got a comment on this, actually, apparently. Ah, that's interesting. I'll get to that in a second. I'll put it in with the pocket of change, not a problem. Put it in my new man bag, which is in the pouch in it, no problem. And apparently the switch is straight out of the Lemire Hydra, which is interesting. I didn't know that, considering I was quite interested.
I've heard of that.
I have. I think it's one of Dave Dawn's mods. He was quite into it when it came out, and it is a very pretty piece of kit. But there we go. Bang in. For a clone, that is absolutely cracking, and the whole thing is clone, by the way. Muti X is a clone. That's the Rejoice or something, I think. I've got two of them. I've got a black one and a copper one. And what I will say, the main downside of this, because it's an oxygen-rich copper, this hand is slowly going green.
Yeah, it will do, yeah.
We've got a comment from Leanna Lawless. I'm trying to persuade my Lego shop, but she won't even sell mech mods or over 15 watt because the cloud chasing assistant frightens customers. Didn't she say that last week?
I think so, yeah. I don't see the problem with cloud chasing. If people want to cloud chase, people go to cloud chase. It's
no, seriously,
not for me particularly.
They come in and like, oh, you've got a big one, and I'm like, I'll make some sort of glib comment about working out and stuff, and I'll be like, come out of the fog tonight, Matthew. I'm going to be my favourite at the moment is Sinead O'Connor. But no, I was really impressed with that, and it's really, really cheap. Really, really cheap. I got mates rates on it. I'll be honest there, I did get mates rates on it. I only paid quite a low amount for it, but it is retailing roughly about 30 quid. And from what I can tell, it's pretty much one-to-one with the original.
Well, it seems to be performing pretty impressively. I mean, I've got to say that.
It's a cracking mod. I mean, compared to the Beast, I mean, look at them. You'd say there's no contest, really. 18650, 26650. I wish I'd have used that last night in the cloud chasing comp.
Yeah.
The staff. I'd have probably come somewhere near second or third. As it happened, my good friend Liam Phelps, the man mountain himself, 19 foot tall, 16 foot wide, shoots lightning bolts out of his bottom. He won with his dual 26-650 yoga. Yeah, man, that punches out the vapor. But no, I thought that would be an interesting addition because we've not done a proper sort of review. But overall, the connectivity in it, it's all copper contact. I like that recessed, no locking ring requirement. It is not gone off at all. It's a good, it's a stiff one. Chaps, gonna go wild.
Oh, Andy. Could have chosen your words better there, couldn't you? I don't know.
No, I did it deliberately.
I know.
I like the way it's taken a patina as well. This is going to look brilliant when I do the Victorian Fair on my birthday. Copper mod in a Victorian gentleman hand water vapes. I am fairly certain this is going to become a regular in my arsenal. And I've got my arsenal here in front of me.
God, you ended that with now. Oh.
No, I'm really happy with it. It's great. The only real niggle I've got with it is it's the floating. No, those screw out positive pins. I'm not overly keen on them. I've got it in my Tree of Life. I've got it in, what else have I got up there? The Steampunk mod. I've got it in the Smyrna one. They're all like adjustable pins. I don't like them. When I didn't quite understand what I was doing with mechanical mods, I was getting a lot of shorts from them. Probably through some human stupid error of my own. But I was getting a lot of shorts from them, and I'm not overly keen on them. But that switch has totally thrown me. I've never seen anything like that before until obviously I was reminded of Hydra. But you know, I like it. It's a really, it's just awesome when it's got my initial on it. So that's what sold me.
That a go. Next time I see you, I'm going to have to give that a go because you know that I'm not a mech mod fan. I prefer my VVVW, but
I think this will convert you.
I'm going to have to give that a go because when I last saw you, when you came over here, and you redid my, was it the iGo W6?
It was the 6, yeah.
Yeah, on top of the Stingray, and
That's
he
right,
recalled that, and it was absolutely, it was blowing clouds, and it was chucking out the vapor. It was, and I was getting a nice hit, and that was on, I think it was 12 or 18 milligram juice.
Oh, it was less than that. It was my 6 milligram.
Was it your 6? I thought we had a larger one than that. But I've been using it anyway with 18 milligram Gin's Addiction. So, and it's still chucking it.
The thing is, that's your face when you made that initial cloud. It was the same face I pulled and the same face any other cloud chasers probably pulled when they first blow that perfect cloud.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, you had O face.
Yes.
O
yes,
face.
I will admit that.
And you know, I think this is going to be a good addition to any cloud chasers arsenal. If you're a mechanical fan. I mean, obviously I've got Hannah, which reminds me to put the tugboat back on that. But out of my little arsenal that I have, the 3 that I carry with me every day, that has pretty much superseded everything, including the Beast. And this is what I use all the time. So, I love it. Another comment from Leanna Lawless. She's bought a mech mod in case future mods cannot be bought. Well, hopefully, if we get together as a community and give the government a write-up, that won't be a problem.
Yeah, we're going back to that again, because we can, if we all stand together and all as a community do it, then yeah. But I'm not going to stick to mech mods just because of what the future might bring. I'm going to stick to what I like. And nobody's going to play those off me.
Nope. From my cold dead head. Cold dead
head.
Cold. Yeah.
It's because you shaved your hair off again, isn't it? Your head's cold.
And Oh my god, what a weekend it was though. Just got to say, I've got to say a massive public thank you to the guys over for hosting Coilmageddon at Fury Fest last night, Spa Vapes Gloucester. Such a great night, huge turnout, a lot more than I was expecting, and the shop was literally covered from about 1 o'clock in the afternoon till 9 o'clock last night in a very, very thick, low-hanging, localised fog. The bar next door's smoke alarms were going off, I think. Some of it was going off constantly anyway. I know we were setting the ones off in the shop very regularly. So it was absolutely brilliant, absolutely fantastic night. It was great. And always very good to spend time with those folks over there anyway.
Oh, it's good to see that there's vape meets going on up and down the country.
Well,
you know,
yeah, obviously you've got
big
the
or small, or mass arranged, and everyone from all over are coming over. Doesn't matter. The fact that vapors are getting together and saying, "Oi, we're doing this, whether you like it or not," I think is brilliant.
Well, vape meets for me, I think, have become the staple of my vaping experience. I love them, and I'm taking Fury Fest on the road. And we kept it local in Worcester recently for the first 3. This one was the first one out of Worcester, and ultimately I want to bring Fury Fest to Neesmeet so we can have an FF meets and an M, maybe have some competitions between the two, for bragging rights and all that sort of thing. And just get everybody up there. I mean, me and you go up to South Shields and bring as many people from JV and all the rest of the Midlands crew, as it were. And
well, I do believe there is a Neesmeet coming up, is there not?
There is, but I can't make it.
Oh, bugger.
Yeah, unless Tim Boniface just appears out of nowhere and brings me up there. But no, I can't make it, unfortunately, this year. But hopefully, if I keep bugging Daz, he'll keep it going and fairly regular, and we can do it at some point in the new year. Because this one was the last Fury Fest of this year. So, unfortunately, guys, no more this year.
That would be good, though. That would be a good idea to bring it all together. And
oh, absolutely.
Live show and stuff like that. That would be a good thing.
What I ultimately want to do is create a video diary that maybe we can put through our show. Fury Fest. I think the next one's going to be in Wigan. It's looking like it's going to be at a shop in Wigan, and and then just keep going northwards until we get to an Neesmeet. That'll be fantastic. The ultimate, I think, for me.
Yeah, that's good thinking. Right, on that point, should we take the next set of ads? And when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about these meets because that's taken a little bit of a turn. And then we've got a few other things to look at.
Yes. So, I wonder who we're going to be talking about.
Oh, who indeed.
LP Vape, UK purveyor of e-cigarettes and e-liquids. Proud sponsors of vaping entertainment on Vapor Trails TV. LP Vape, RY4 Radio.
And we are back in the room. I'm just been reading through the chat with the team. You really don't want to know what Andy has just promised Daz. In the next meetings. Yes, it involves a pheasant of mankini. So we'll just leave that there. But I want to just touch on this meat thing. I don't want to touch on the meat thing. I want to talk about.
Got that?
Oh dear me! I did not just. No, I would like to talk about local vape meetings. Because I think while it's great that we have Vape Fest and you're doing Fury Fest and there is the Knees Meet, I think there should be more local vape meetings in local vape-friendly places and get more people involved. Because there's so many people now vaping. I am seeing so many more people when I'm just walking down the street or going to the shops. Why don't we have a monthly meeting? My local pub is vape-friendly. Let's have a monthly meeting in there. And anyone who vapes, we advertise the hell out of it. Everyone who vapes can come in and join in and see everyone else's different bits of kit. Again, I should rephrase that, but I'm not going to. You all understand what I mean. But if this was done in every single town and city across the country on a monthly basis, it would again raise awareness, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I am so down with vape meets. Sorry about that. There's a load of people. If you're hearing dogs bark periodically, we've got a lot of people setting off fireworks outside, and I do apologise for that, ladies and gentlemen. It's freaking my puppies out. I'm very, very sorry about that. But no, totally agree. Vape meets. Vape meets, vape meets, vape meets, vape meets, vape meets. I had at least 3 people last night who have been vaping for a very long time, who've gone to vaping either because of me or whatever. And I think Dave's just read the chat.
Excuse me while I pass out.
Tonight's show is now renamed Mina's Meat. But it was their first vape meet. And they're just like, I can't believe this sort of thing goes on. Is it a new idea? I'm like, no. Vape meets have been on a long time. I've been attending vape meets now for well over a year and a quarter, year and a half. Started off with last year's Vape Fest. I got meat on the mind. I am so I am so gonna kick you in the nuts. Kick you in the meat.
Yeah. Mine are meat. Ah, there we go.
Mina's meat.
How did you know?
No. God, the chat's getting worse. Have you read that, Dave?
No. What's that?
Mina's meat whilst furiously barking.
Oh, gee.
God. But no.
What we need to explain, right, but just before you carry on, Andy, there, I just want to butt in. What we need to explain is that the VTTV team are absolutely mental.
They employ you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's said. Yeah, meats. They are amazing. Absolutely amazing. I am so down with this. And a great example of this was the January vape meets. Davey, you and I went to Birmingham, met with DK.
Yeah.
Wicked day. Absolutely wicked day out. Just so much fun was had. I mean, even with people who don't particularly get on with each other within the community, all got together, showed a bit of solidarity outside the mailbox in Birmingham. It happened all over the country, and I was so chomping at the bit to see the footage from all of these meets. Right?
Yeah, same here.
All around the country, and that was probably one of the best VaporTrails.tv shows I have seen ever. Because
I would have to agree with you on that one, Andy. It was just brilliant to see everyone coming together.
It was that whole level of solidarity.
Yeah, but even though in a few places there was only 2 or 3 people that turned up.
But they made the effort.
Exactly. That's the point. People making the effort. And that's why I think we should have these local meetings. And we should get more people involved in this and get people who don't understand vaping as we do. Because let's face it, anyone watching this now, or most people watching this now, they know what they're talking about to some extent, and they know about mods and dripping and things like that. But every day there are new people coming into it, and we need to get these people involved as well, and we need to make them aware of what's going on. Which leads me seamlessly into our next topic of conversation, which is Margaret Chan, the WHO Director General. She apologised to a conference being held about the Ebola epidemic because she instead wanted to attend the FCTC in Moscow. So she'd rather talk about tobacco control and e-cigarettes than talk about this apparent worldwide crisis with Ebola. Andy, go.
First things first, malaria kills a minimum of 70,000 people a year, and it's easily cured. And they're harping on about Ebola, which is, so far, only in Africa. Okay? Secondly, the Times piece that you shared with me earlier today, people seem to be more upset about e-cigarettes than they are over Ebola, which is a fatal disease, virus, whatever it is. I can't remember. I'm not a microbiologist or anything like that. So this whole aspect of priority is so skew-whiff, in my opinion. It is unbelievable. Let's look at some facts here. As I said, malaria kills thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people a year. Yeah, it's just sort of slipped by the wayside, and we can cure malaria. That's the thing.
Yeah.
The scientists, the pharmaceutical companies, they've created anti-malaria drugs. I've had them myself in my time in the forces, and cures for malaria. Reptile Keeper, I like you, Sonny Jim. No profit from Ebola. So far, only poor people are getting it.
Yes.
Get in there, son. Back of the net. Cracking comment. Maxstrom also said about Mrs. Chan, woman's a bloody disgrace. And our very own Marco said, on it, rather scoff caviar and quaff champagne. We'll get to that in a minute, Marco.
Yeah, we're coming to that.
Yeah. I'm pinning that one just for a minute. There are so many other problems within the world, right? And yet, these people aren't addressing them. I mean, apparently we're more of a problem than Ebola.
Yeah, and when you think about it, we're more a solution than a problem because we're an alternative, a safer alternative than something that kills so many more people. This is where it's just idiot. I'm struggling not to swear, mate. Okay, I'm struggling not to swear.
I coined this in one simple phrase in the past conversation we had over the weekend. Human stupid. Human stupid. And
yeah.
I'm sorry, but Margaret Chan is got a massive ass case, sorry for swearing, of human stupid. I mean, the hell, right? We've got about, and I remember the Ebola outbreak, was it the late 80s, early 90s?
Early 90s, yeah.
Went to caca.
Yeah.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Of course, E6 probably went around then. I was very young. I was also very, very drunk. Sorry, pop culture thing. Anyway, it's not new. Ebola is not new. Okay, it's been around a while, quite a while, probably since time immemorial. But it seems to be exactly going back to what Reptile Keeper said. Only poor people are getting these things. So let's go where the money is.
But you've also got to look at it that who are the people that we're hearing about who have successfully overcome the Ebola virus? It's the people in America, and
something to do with the tobacco derivative as well.
Yes.
Here, tobacco actually cured something. Okay, I hate to do it, but we've got to play devil's advocate here. We've got to be fair and report as much of the facts as we are currently aware of. One of the first cures for Ebola comes from a specific type of tobacco from America somewhere. It's a very dark, heavy tobacco, I believe. We've got comments coming in left, right, and centre here, Davey. You want to hit a couple?
I'm going for it, mate, because my screen's really far away, so I struggle to see it.
Munich says, yeah, damn those wannabe healthy ex-smokers unburdening the NHS. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Ironically, an aid to stopping a roll exactly that. Exactly what I just said. Maxstrom saying pretty much what I just said. Ironically, an aid to stopping Ebola actually comes from the tobacco plant.
I believe it's actually nicotine itself, isn't it? Not something from the tobacco plant. Isn't it actually nicotine?
I am unaware of the exact details.
We're going to have to go into this in more detail and find out about it.
This in more detail, actually. Yeah, Sprotty. If Ebola hits the US big, then all of a sudden there'll be a cure.
Well, yeah, of course it will, because they're the most important country in the world.
Funny enough.
But we won't go there, because we do have US viewers, so I apologise for that. I'm not being derogatory in any way whatsoever. Right, going back to Marco's comment about the scoffing caviar and quaffing champagne. Now, apparently for this conference, they spent £1.6 million for the delegates. Yes. They ate caviar and drank champagne, and they also had 3 fully booked 5-star hotels and spent £40,000 just for Wi-Fi access for journalists who then found out they weren't going to be allowed to attend the conference. Andy, go.
404, Fury not found. What the hell?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, okay. Here's the sense in this that I can see. Right, now I'm organising this big thing for all the people who from the health things and whatnot from governments all around the world, right? Now, there's going to be journalistic interest, so let's go and spend £4 million on Wi-Fi so they can talk to their peoples everywhere else and then ban them from coming in, because that's a well good expenditure. And then wipe my arse on a £50 note. I'm then going to go and see some Filipino ladyboy for various gratificational means. Yeah, dude, let's stop me there, because I'm just going to roll with it and get offensive.
Yeah, it could go quite far with this, couldn't it? It's absolutely disgraceful. I mean, how can they do this? What?
It's
How
just
can we convince people to? How can we convince these people to start taking this seriously? That this e-cigarettes are a life-saving opportunity for many people. What do we do? What do we do?
Well, we're working on something which we're going to keep hush-hush for the minute, me and Davey. Personally.
Yeah.
We're working on something which we're going to keep to ourselves just for the minute. Okay. I agree with Max Drum. Words fail me over all this palaver. Oh, that's interesting. We'll come back to the Pete Collins comment there in a minute. What do we do? I mean, we've got to be touching, what, 2.73 million people in the UK vaping at the moment?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Must be touching 3 million by now. Must be, because I'm seeing so many people take it up every day that I'm at work. Retention of vaping seems to be sticking. People get into it, they enjoy it, they've found this way of continuing their habit safely. So what can we do apart from just blatantly showing off what we do? It's insane, really, right? And we're demonized.
Yeah, that's the stupid thing. That is the stupid thing.
We've got 5 minutes left, Davey.
All right, do you want to take that Pete Collins comment, mate?
Yeah, Pete Collins, Google. A tiny San Diego-based company provided an experimental Ebola treatment for 2 Americans infected with the deadly virus in Liberia. The biotechnology drug produced with tobacco plants appears to be working. So funny that we had that comment about America, and then, well, I knew the tobacco plant came from America. And let's face it, they are a world superpower. A lot of new tech is going to come from there, including biological tech. Right, weekly roundup, Davey, go.
Yeah, let's go. Right. Weekly roundup. Tomorrow night is Marco van Basten with Vape Scene. And then Wednesday night we have Matt is back with the show with no name. Can someone please come up with a name for that one, please? And then on Thursday night we have Dave Dawn and Keith in his top pocket with the Hayes Hour. And Friday night we don't have a show. Saturday night we have Shenanigans. Sunday night is Dave's Tackle Box, and then me and Andy will be back on Monday night. And do not forget that every single night you have RY4 Radio, and Andy is going to tell you the lineup for RY4 Radio because I don't know.
Well, straight after tonight's show, we've got Reggie with his honky-tonking stuff. Tomorrow night is Solid Rob Taylor with his hard rock and heavy metal tunes. Wednesday night is Nicky's Juicy Bitch! Oh, they're juicy. Thursday night is our very own DJ Bobo, Darren Johnson. Friday night, lock in with Tim Boniface. Saturday night is Gaz Saturday Set, and Sunday is that funny bloke with the red haircut. Oh, that would be me with a smash-up. Back to Monday, which of course would be Reggie.
Thank you very much, Andy. I think we actually got that right then, didn't we?
I think we actually did get it right.
Bloody hell, that's got to be so.
Man, insult me.
Your hair looks stupid.
So
I could say something worse than that, but I won't because it would be really insulting and people would take offence. So.
Yeah, well, you look like a bum bag.
Yeah, well, what I was going to say was even worse than that, so I won't say it. But anyway, I think, yeah, we're just about coming up to time there. Andy, honestly, if I could say what I was going to say to you,
I'll
then I
do
would.
it when we're off air, and then we'll have an argument, and next week we'll have a fight. When you finally get around to visiting my phenomenon.
Yeah, and we also need a decent intro for next week as well.
Yeah, we need to work on them. But then, if things went to plan this week, it would have been that. Face it, if things went to plan tonight,
it was my fault. I'll admit it.
No, fault. It was your car's fault. Blame the car.
Yeah, blame the car. Okay.
BMW.
Wasn't my fault. But anyway, chat. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for joining. And tonight, we hope you have enjoyed the show. We hope you join us next week and every single show that we put out for you. And we hope you'll continue to join us in the fight to get vaping out there and to stop all this absolute nonsense. Andy, say good night, man.
Good night, man.
Good night, guys.
Baby! Oh, yeah. This is not the Limpopo River.